Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 9521 Atlanta Baseball Podcast. I am your host, Jason, and I am awaiting my co host, Mike Simpson, who will be on very soon as we are live on X once again and also on our YouTube channel. And we are broadcasting this on the X channel, our X channel, the 9521 podcast page, and also on our parent channel, Romantic About Baseball. So if you're joining us from any of those platforms, thank you for tuning in for another live episode here. We are one night later than normal. We typically do these on Monday nights and release the recordings on Tuesday, but I have been a little under the weather and was severely under the weather last night. So we're doing this on Tuesday, and unfortunately during one of the games. I prefer not to do it during a Braves game so we can watch it. But we are keeping up with the current game. The Braves leading the Blue Jays currently 4-3. The game is in the seventh inning, and the Braves got the lead on a Matt Olson home run. So that game will be on the agenda to talk about as well. And we're going to change our format up a little bit this week, talk more broadly, and not spend as much time going game by game on our recap. So a big week, another big week for the Atlanta Braves, as they go on the road to the Red Sox at Fenway, and then followed that up with a road trip to Cincinnati to take on the Reds. And the Braves came out good, 4-2 overall, as they get the job done, continue to win series. And both series were interesting in their own ways. And, of course, we've got a lot of news coming up as far as injuries, and then also some good news on that front. And then Ronald Acuna Jr., we'll talk about him very shortly, as the Braves obviously welcome sight to see Ronald get into his groove, as he's hit a home run in 5 straight games coming into tonight's game with Toronto. So some good news. Let's start with some injury news, because obviously injuries have been a big part of the Braves story for the last couple of seasons, unfortunately. And Drake Baldwin, earlier today, Walt Weiss said that Drake Baldwin could be back as close as the next Braves homestand, as soon as the next Braves homestand in a couple weeks. So really good news there. Of course, he's battling the oblique strain that was labeled as a mild oblique strain, but you can't be too careful with those. We've seen those keep guys out longer than expected. So happy to hear that it sounds like at least Drake Baldwin is going to make a quick recovery, be back in the Braves lineup by mid-June. And, of course, the Braves have been doing okay without him, but you'd love to get that bat back in the lineup on a regular basis. And already at a young age, it seems like Baldwin is also a leader of that team. So Baldwin coming back. The other injury news that we've heard in the last few days, a lot of it really, Sean Murphy, our other catcher, probably not coming back till right at or right after the All-Star break, according to Alex Anthopoulos. And so, not terrible news there, as we're going to get him back at some point. The question with Murphy is going to be, when he does come back, can he get enough at bats to get himself into hitting shape, because he was struggling mightily before. We also got updates on Schwellenbach and Hurston Waldrop. Spencer seems to be further away right now. He is throwing, and there are some good signs, but it sounds like they'll be rather happy just to get Spencer back anytime before the end of the season. So maybe August, and then you have to wonder, can he round himself into shape to be on the roster in time to make the postseason roster and be effective. Hurston Waldrop, better news on his front. He's been throwing bullpen sessions. Anthopoulos said he was tossing a bullpen session where he was hitting 97, 98, 99 on velocity, which is a great sign. And then he could be back. He's doing a rehab stint, so could be it's a little bit longer rehab stint than just go down and pitch a few games. I think we're looking at Waldrop closer to still a month away, maybe. Mike, welcome aboard. I went ahead and got going here on X, but just been going over the injury report, the injury news we've got in the last few days, explaining why we were a day late and trying not to lose my voice again tonight. But yeah, so Waldrop, I was just talking about him looking like good news. Anthopoulos says he's been popping the gun at 98, 99. He's doing bullpen sessions. He's about to begin a rehab stint. Schwellenbach further out. Baldwin today, Walt Weiss saying Baldwin could be back as soon as the next Braves homestand, which is in a couple weeks. So mostly good news on the injury front. Did you want to add anything there, Mike?
No, I heard the exact same thing about Drake. I was like, great. I was looking ahead to see when that was, and I was because wasn't exactly sure. So we have this one, and then we go to Chicago, the White Sox for 3, then the Mets for 3, and come back. And I want to say it's San Francisco is who we play.
That sounds right. Yeah, I believe that's right. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's always good, especially with Baldwin. It was kind of scary, but when we found out it was a mild oblique strain, I was still a little worried. I want to say a couple of years ago, maybe or last season, even Murphy had a mild oblique strain that kept him out about 2 or 3 months. So you never know with those injuries, but really glad to hear that he's going to be on the way back soon. So let's talk about last week. I mentioned it briefly before you got on, Mike. Braves go 5-2 on the road trip, or excuse me, 4-2 on the road trip. They win both series. Some interesting developments along the way. Obviously, they open up at Fenway. As I had mentioned on previous shows, my wife and I were there for the first 2 games, and certainly I can tell you that Fenway lived up to the hype. We really enjoyed it. It was great. 2 places I always wanted to go, Wrigley and Fenway. They both lived up to it as a baseball fan. Had a great time. That first game that we were at, Mike, the first game of the series, felt like a postseason atmosphere. Despite their team's struggle, the Red Sox fans turned up and turned out, and then the game got way more interesting than we wanted it to in the bottom of the 9th inning. But Iggy came through and got the job done. It was a little scary, but a great game to watch, back and forth, a lot of offense. And the Braves walked away with a win in our first game at Fenway, so I really could not have asked for more than that.
Yeah, I got a feeling your butt cheeks were clenched a little bit for right at the end of that game with Iggy giving up 2 runs. I was like, "Ooh, this is not good," especially with Jason's first trip to Fenway. I'm like, "This is not a good way to start."
Yeah, definitely made it more interesting than I would have liked. But once it was over, we were very thankful. We're like, "Hey, that was a great experience. It felt like a postseason game." We were excited and. Yeah, it was great. Game 2, not so much. We had great seats. We were very excited. We were close to the field on the Braves dugout side, but that game went off the rails quickly. Bryce Elder did not have a great outing. He also had some really bad batted ball luck, and the Red Sox just clobbered the Braves in Game 2, shut them out. And at the time, I think it was our 4th shutout in our last maybe 9 games or something like that. So it was a little bit concerning, but it felt like one of those days where everything just was not going to go right for Atlanta. And they followed up in Game 3, Mike, with what they've been doing all year, which is winning the rubber game of the series. When they split the first 2, I think they've only lost 1 rubber game this year. And this was another example of them taking care of business. And the biggest thing that came out of this game for, I think, me and the Atlanta Braves and everybody, Ronald Acuna Jr., grand slam, broke the game open, and it felt like, Mike, that might open the dam up, and I think it has.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. By, absolute bursting at that dam now, because what was it? It was 5 homers in 4 games after that?
Yeah, he's 5 straight homer. It looks like he may not get a shot tonight. He may get one more at bat. We'll see. But yeah, just an incredible run he's gone on. And look, Fenway and Great American Ballpark are 2 hitters' parks, so that was a good place for him to get right. But that, we were on our way home. We were in the car by this point. We've been flying all morning, and we were driving, listening to the game, and it was just a cathartic moment for us in the car. Like, wow, finally, Ronnie, it felt so good that it was Ronald Acuna that did that. So the Braves take care of business. They win the series. They move on to Cincinnati. I guess the Reds team that's played pretty good baseball. They've been kind of up and down. Started out really good, faded a little, but they're still in the race. That NL Central is ridiculous. And the Braves go into Great American, win the first 2 games. Ronald stays on his heater, leads off with home runs. He continues to, show why he was the MVP in 2023, finally. I thought the biggest takeaway here for me, Mike, though, this series was, again, the starting pitching. Grant Holmes didn't get through 5, but he gave the Braves another chance to win. He wasn't great. He was frustrated that he didn't get through 5. And then Martin Perez. What else can we say about that guy? We've talked about him 2 or 3 times, but he continues to just give the Braves exactly what they need in that 5th spot. He went 5 innings again, gave up a couple runs, struck out a couple. Nothing super impressive, but with our offense clicking, that's all you need. And the Braves take the first 2 games of the series behind them and, of course, Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah, and we're not expecting much out of Martin Perez, but he just keeps giving us just enough, and that's perfect. Yeah. That's all we just need him to, keep filling that 5th spot until either Waltrip or whatever come back, and he'd probably end up in the bullpen at that point, but that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking over his numbers. I don't have the advanced stats a lot of people look at to tell you if he's overperforming or underperforming, but bottom line is he's thrown 51 2/3 very important innings for the Braves.
Yeah.
He struck out 42. Gotta get my line straight here, and only walked 18 during those innings. He has given up 6 home runs, but his ERA is still 2.79 over those 51 2/3 innings. Yeah, I mean, that's way more than we could have asked of the guy coming in. He actually has a 0.4 SWAR so far, so pretty impressive stuff. You compare that to Grant Holmes, who was supposed to be a starter the whole time. He's got a 3.95 ERA, so he's actually outperforming Grant Holmes. Grant's given up 11 home runs, by the way, which is the most on the team, pretty much by far. So some things to clean up there for Grant, but he did get us through 4 2/3 in that game. Gave the Braves a chance to win. They did. Game 3, the Braves had a chance to sweep that series, but didn't work out. Strider, I don't know what you thought, Mike. I'll get your thoughts. I thought he's a little uneven, but he's showing good movement. He struck out 8. He walked 2. There were times he looked in command, times he looked a little off. Maybe he's still rounding into form, but I'm still not exactly sure what to think about Spencer Strider.
I think he's just he's probably still trying to get into the groove. This was the game. I believe that was the one. I called it like a what was that? Death by 1,000 needles, because it was like they'd score 1 run on the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th. I'm like, stop! Just like Fortunately, it was only 1, because you still felt like you had a chance, but it's just like it was just 1 every inning. I'm like, okay, they're gonna keep piling on. Okay.
Yeah, Strider, he's got 40 strikeouts in 31 innings. So I just mentioned Perez, and 51 2/3 has 42 strikeouts. So Strider's still K-ing, folks. He has walked 17, which is not great. I think that's the one area he needs to clean up. I think he's going to get better as the season goes on. I think we've talked about this before. He's learning how to pitch instead of just throw. And I think the more starts he gets behind him, the more innings, he's going to get better. A couple of uncharacteristic defensive miscues by Ronald Acuna Jr. With all the hitting he's doing, I think everybody's willing to overlook that for a game or 2. But it looked like he had a couple bad breaks on the ball at GABP. And I don't know if it was the sunlight. I know the sunlight was playing havoc with people. And then also I heard some guys talking about, the way he had to go back on a couple of those balls was reminiscent of the first ACL injury he got in Miami a couple of years ago.
In 2021.
Maybe there's still some hesitation there on his part when he has to make that move. But any thoughts there, Mike? Any concerns about Ronald's defensive capabilities out there?
I mean, he's a plus defender no matter what. But, yes, a couple of those balls, it seemed like every ball that was hit just barely over his head, he was misplaying for some reason. It was dropping in. It was hitting up against the wall. For me, it was uncharacteristic. I expected him to catch those balls. But, yes, a couple of those jumps where he was near the wall kind of felt like that 2021 injury, because I've seen that again somewhat recently. It's like, kind of looked like it. I'm like, dude, please don't blow out your ACL again.
Yeah. I'm not too concerned. I want to see if it was just maybe the ballpark and the situation with the sun, because a lot of guys were struggling. You could see that with the sunlight. So we'll see what happens as we move forward. But like you said, he's still a plus defender. You don't test that arm very often if you're the opposing team. So that says a lot. It doesn't show up in the scorecard maybe, but it says a lot that people are not willing to test that arm. So, Ronald definitely broke out offensively, and I just wanted to run through some stats. This is for the week. So Ronald Acuna Jr., Batted 333 with 5 home runs, which is by far the most on the team this week, 10 RBI. He basically either hit a home run or got on base another. He walked 8 times, which is also by far the most for the week. He slugged a 1.048, a 1.565 OPS. It was the kind of week that we were hoping to see, Mike, and frankly, I was starting to wonder if we were going to see it. And as we mentioned earlier, just a really great moment to finally see it. Now, can he sustain that kind of pace? Of course not. But if Ronnie is half of that for the rest of the season, the Braves are in good shape.
Yeah, exactly. And he was still stealing bases too. I want to say there was one time he was on base, stole second and third. Okay, he's feeling it when on the base pass too. So I'll take that too. I mean, I'm not expecting 40-70, but I'll take 30. I'll take 35. I'll take 40. That's fine.
Yes, I should have mentioned that. He also had 5 stolen bases and was only caught stealing once. So add that. And I don't have it in front of me, Mike. You may remember, I know everybody was saying he was the first player in quite a while to steal that many bases and hit that many home runs in so many games. I mean, he just keeps doing things that you say, going back to 2021 and 2022, like he's the first player to do this or the only one of 3 players to do this. And that's the kind of guy that you want on your team. I know people get frustrated with his injury situation and all that, but those are things he can't control. When Ronnie's right, when he's doing well, he's the best player in baseball, in my opinion.
Oh, by far. I mean, people can argue for Judge, people can argue for Ohtani, but like Judge doesn't steal bases. Ohtani does, but I mean, he's also trying to pitch at the same time too. And this year he's been not as good offensively. He's incredible offensively, but he's not as good because he's concentrating on pitching. So right now, the person who looks like he's just blowing everyone out of the water, given it's only a few games, is Ronnie.
Yeah, and I think you almost have to put Ohtani in a different category because of what he does. But, and maybe when I said best, maybe most electric player is Ronald Acuna Jr. Just the energy that he brings, like you said, the havoc he can wreak. Still, with the 2 injuries, he can still wreak havoc on the base paths. He can get you the first to third on a single to right field. I mean, he brings something to the game when he's on his game. And even when he wasn't hitting the ball, he was getting on base. And he mentioned how important that was to him as a team player, which a lot of guys give him grief for, showboating or whatever. He's a team player. And he mentioned that, how important it was for him that he was still contributing to the team, even when the baseballs weren't falling his way. So glad to see him back. It looks like he's had maybe an off night tonight in game 1 against the Blue Jays, but we'll see how the rest of the series goes. So other stats, I wanted to mention Jorge Mateo as well. I mean, obviously he's been getting some starts at short as Ha-Seong Kim continues to struggle. Mateo had a good week. He batted 368. He drove in 5 runs. He did hit 2 home runs. So I think we got to discuss that real quick, Mike. Mateo may just be on one of those heaters where a guy who's a career, 240 guy, they have these kind of months or weeks. But as long as he's playing like this and he's playing good defense, it's really hard to take him out and put Ha-Seong Kim back in there. But on the other hand, if Kim doesn't get at bats, he really can't get better, and we're probably going to need him down the stretch. So I know Walt Weiss will handle it well because he's handled just about everything else well. But what are your thoughts around this, Mike? What the Braves do with this shortstop situation?
I mean, right now, play the hot hand. Mateo's hitting great, so put him out there. At this point, make it a 3-handed monster with him, Doobie, and Kim. You're right. Kim has to hit his way out of this. There's no other way to get out of it. Yeah. But I mean, at one point, do you just stop because he's a liability? I mean, I think he's up over 100 now, but for a while there, he was under. How do you let a guy hit under 100 out on the field? I get it. It doesn't make any sense, but the only way he gets better from this is to actually get out there and hit.
Yeah, and speaking of trying to hit your way out of something, we talked about Acuna, great week. We talked about Mateo, great week. Michael Harris had a great week, 440, 2 homers, 7 ribbies. Yastrzemski's continued to hit well when he's played. But really quickly, we got to mention Austin Riley. Once again, Riley went 1 for 18, Mike. 1 for 18. He struck out 9 times, which is by far the most on the team this week. He did have a big sack fly. I thought that was a big at bat. I can't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday's game, but he came up, I think, with bases loaded. And he managed to put the bat on the ball and get a sacrifice fly. But, man, we're in early June now. And the guy goes 1 for 18 in 2 parks where the ball travels and guys hit. You see Acuna woke up in these 2 ballparks. I mean, you can hit a decent fly ball at Great American Ballpark, and that thing will get over the fence. I'm concerned about Riley at this point. He's our third baseman. I hate to say we're stuck with him, but we are. I want him to turn it around. I'm pulling for the guy. But 1 for 18 with 9 strikeouts, I'm just – you can tell I'm speechless. I'm not sure what to say about Riley at this point.
Is it speechless about Riley, or is it just because you can't talk because you're sick?
It's probably both at this point, yeah. I can feel my voice starting to go again, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, the contract's keeping him on the field because he's got good defense, so it's not that's not the problem. But yeah, no, he's horrible at the plate at this point. So I don't know if he needs to have another talk with Chipper or something. Like I don't know what it is. He needs to do something. I don't know. I want to say this was a while ago, so I don't know if he's fixed his problems since. But I remember seeing him hit at one point, and his hips were opening up too early.
Yeah.
So he's not going to get to the outside pitch. So I mean, I was only watching a little bit of today's game, so I don't even know if he's in the game.
He made a really good defensive play a little while ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I caught the first 2 runs, and then I saw Akamoto tie it up. But that's the only thing I was able to see tonight so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least from what I remember, his hips were opening up too early. So you're not going to hit the outside pitch, number one. You're not going to get around on a lot of pitches at that point. If they see that, they're going to throw him outside too. So,
well, they know how to get him out. I mean, they know where to go to get Riley out. That's a big part of the problem. He can't lay off some of those pitches. Yeah, he played tonight. He's 0 for 3. He has 1 strikeout. Like I said, he did make a big defensive play. Acuna's 0 for 3. He did get a walk that was important to lead off the game. Mike Harris brought him around on a double. Olson's 2 for 4. He has a homer. Ozzy's 2 for 2 with a couple of walks. So they're going to the 9th inning. So hopefully, I assume Iggy's going to come in and try to shut down a win over the Blue Jays in Game 1. So, Mike, let's move on and let's talk about something that's been out there a lot. Because the Braves have such a big lead in the division, I think people are looking ahead, and rightfully so. It's fine. We can afford to look ahead as long as the team doesn't. As long as the players focus on each day and winning series, the fans can definitely afford to look ahead. So, in your opinion, Mike, and I've heard a lot of discussion on this, what do the Braves need? Is it another starting pitcher? Is it a bat? Is it both? To go over the top? Because this team is obviously capable of bringing home a second world title in the last 6 seasons, which would be huge for this organization, right? We went 26 years between titles before. If they could get one more title out of this group of guys, that would be absolutely huge for the future of the organization to be able to do that. So if Anthopoulos goes all in, which we don't even know what that means really with him, but he said in an interview that he's looking. He's scouring the minor leagues now. He's evaluating. What do you think the Braves need, Mike, to compete with the Dodgers, the Brewers, whoever's going to be there in October and get over the hump and not just get to the postseason and do well, but win the whole damn thing?
I want another reliever. Not that we have a great pen, don't get me wrong. But I do. You can never have enough good arms in the bullpen,
especially in the postseason. Yeah,
correct. So give me another reliever. I want to say left field. I want to say shortstop, but with the players that we have, I don't feel like we're that bad. Like I've heard people say Trout. I've heard people say Buxton. Both of them are so injury prone that I don't really want to see it at all. I don't want to see their contracts coming onto our books either. So, something kind of like Jorge Soler and Peterson in 21. Someone that's doesn't need to start, someone that can just be another bat in the on the bench, or give some people some time off during the season, later on in the season. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard Jordan Alvarez too, and I'm like, yeah, I don't. Do we need?
That would be great.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't know what we'd have to give up for Jordan, and yeah, I think that would be great. But I also think we got the bats. Assuming everybody stays healthy. Now, would I mind if he could pick up a quality left fielder that can hit left and right-handed pitchers, and we don't have to platoon guys? Sure, but to me, Mike, I'm not sure I trust our starting rotation in the postseason right now. And I think it was Matt Chernoff on 680 The Fan bring this up. Right now, you got Chris Sale, who's a dog, right? Chris Sale is a guy. He's a hound. He's going to get in there and do his job. Do you trust Elder as your game 2 starter? Do you trust Strider right now as your game 3 starter against the Dodgers or the Brewers or the Phillies even? Like, I want one more, top line starter. I'm not sure who that is. I'm not sure who we go get. I would love to see. I think that puts us over the top. I think if we have one more really good, solid starter who's a number 2 guy, because in the postseason, if you've got a couple of number 1s or a number 1 and a 2 and a good bullpen, 3 and 4 and 5 don't matter as much in the postseason.
Yeah.
Give me that one more dog, man. Give me one guy to go with Sale, and they're going to go out there and say, hey, we're going to bring home this title. Kind of like Max Fried did in 2021 with a group of, a cast of characters, Ian Anderson and all those guys, and brought it home. Kyle Wright was part of that. You don't have to have superstars 1 through 5, but you do have to have a couple guys that can go in there and get the job done. That's what I want to see, and I want to see a left-handed reliever, as you mentioned earlier. We need one more good left-handed dominant reliever.
Yeah, I mean, I think Strider and I think at this point, when it comes to Elder, I feel like we can depend on him, at least for the regular season, because we're past the Memorial Day, and like we said, you are what you are at that point. So he's still pitching very well. Yes, he had one bad outing against the Red Sox, but for the most part, most of his outings have been good. Tonight was pretty damn good too.
I trust him completely. Let me get that straight. I trust him completely in the regular season. But when you're going up against the Yamamotos of the world and Tyler Glasnows and those guys in the postseason, and the Dodgers who can hit 1 through 9, it's not against Elder. I'm not saying he won't be good, but it's good enough to get the Braves another Commissioner's Trophy. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would also love another top of the line starter, but what are we going to have to give up for that? And that's my biggest problem is, like, I don't want to give up too much in the minor league system. Like, we've heard some of the names, like, Tate Saltacine and was Eric Hartman. Like, that dude wasn't even drafted, but he's blowing up in single A right now. I don't want to give up someone like that who's got a lot of possible upside just to get probably a rental. Like, if we're getting someone like, given he's injured right now, but like someone like a Skubal, sure. I don't see Skubal coming here though. But it's one of those, like, someone like that, sure. You're going to give me maybe like a Logan Webb, that's fine. But like, I'm trying to think of like someone who's maybe like a 3 on some teams. I'm not giving up anyone for that.
Yeah, I don't want to mortgage the farm for especially a rental, if it's a guy we're only going to have for the second half of the season. On the other hand, I'll go back to my previous point. This team clearly has the ability, and there is a window for every team. Mm-hmm. The team could look different next year. It could look different in 2028. If there's a deal to be made that doesn't cost us a ton of prospects, but we have to give up a couple guys that we're, a South Scene or John Heel or somebody that we're kind of high on. Even Waldrop is out there, AJ Smith-Shawver. I don't know if it's somebody that we feel like can give us that piece to have another parade down Battery Avenue. I'm willing to say go for it, AA. I mean, ultimately it's his decision, but he's been good about not mortgaging the farm for down the road, or not mortgaging down the road for right now. But I just feel like this year might be a little different because clearly we got a shot here. This is It's not just maybe this team is the best team in baseball right now. I like to see him go all in, even if it costs us a couple of prospects, because our farm system has turned out to be a little deeper than we thought. We've got some guys that are playing better. Like you mentioned, Eric Hartman is one of those guys. South of Scene's coming along much quicker than he was supposed to. And there's other guys down there that are, performing. We still got pitchers performing well. He's got some guys to make moves with. So I would like to see him go for it. I want another World Series title. As a guy who's watched the Braves for 40-plus years and seen 2 titles, I want to see a third one really bad. I want to change the name of this podcast next year, Mike.
Yeah. So do I. Excuse me, the 952-126, that's fine with me too.
Absolutely, yes. We will make a new logo. We will print T-shirts, whatever we'll just try not to step on the Braves trademark this time, but we will print T-shirts, whatever it takes to get that new logo out. But so, we're changing the format here a little, Mike. I mentioned it before you jumped on. We're going to try not to spend as much time on game by game, and that was your idea, so I want to give you credit for that. And being said, we used to try to avoid talking about the current game, but since we're live and we're changing things up a bit. As we speak, Iggy's got himself in another mess, but there's 2 outs, top of the 9th. The Jays have the tying run at second, and Sanchez is up, so we'll see if Iggy can work his way out of another mess here and get the Braves a series opening win over the Blue Jays. We'll see. It's 2-0 to the current batter with first and second, 2 outs, and I believe he just ended it. So Braves win. Braves win. Braves win. That's a good way to end a podcast episode as well, huh? We'll take that.
Yeah, I got no problems with that. Can pull on the win.
Yeah, thanks to the people who tuned in live on X. We appreciate you. We are going to continue to post on X, and Mike, you and I talked earlier about doing maybe a ticket giveaway to try to get some people involved here, make some comments, and we really want to go back and forth. We really want to have some fan participation. Tonight would have been great fan participation, so I could save my voice. But if we could get some fans to comment and give us some of their thoughts. I mean, we're just fans. Neither one of us are baseball executives or former players. We're just fans who like to talk about the game, and we don't consider our opinion any better than yours. So share your opinions and participate, and we'll try to come up with some giveaways and make this thing exciting for you. In the meantime, it's a good win for Atlanta tonight. They continue to roll. And Mike, any final thoughts on the week that was?
Not right this second, but I do have. We have the trivia questions.
Oh yeah. Thank you for reminding me. Yes. Go ahead, sir.
All right. So, excuse me. The last week's trivia question was: this player once finished 4th in the MVP voting, but played his last 2 games of his career for the Braves in 2021. Can you name him? I remember after we were off the air, your wife said she thought she had it. Did she have it? Did she have an answer?
No,
okay.
She did not. I'm not even going to tell you who it was that she said, because no. And I never came up with a name myself, so I'm going to be as surprised as everyone else on this one.
Okay. So in 2014, he finished 4th place in the MVP voting behind Kershaw, who won it. He played 2 games. He had 9 plate appearances, 1 hit in 5 official at-bats, 3 walks, and a sac bunt. That's all he did. The answer is Jonathan Lucroy.
Wow. I remember him being there now, but I would never have got – I could have guessed for 3 years and not come up with Jonathan Lucroy.
I saw something on YouTube or whatever, and it was said that he was never going to wear the ring. And I was like, okay, well, like what ring did you have? And I'm like, oh, wait a second, he was on the 2021 team, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He said he was never going to wear it because he felt like he had nothing to do with it. Like he was only there for 2 games. He had nothing to do with the team. He didn't input it at all. He was there for the game that we clinched it. Because Greinke, as a good friend of his, someone else on the Houston team was a good friend of his, and he was sitting in their section, in their like players' wives section, and he's like, he leaned over to his wife and he's like, I can't say anything right now. I can't he's like, I'm gonna get a ring, but I can't say anything at all because I'm surrounded by Houston fans.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Well,
I thought
kudos
that
to
was
him. I
kinda
mean, I
weird.
understand that. I get it. I'd probably feel that way too, but I'd still have that ring out somewhere. I'd still be showing it off somewhere. If especially if that was his only ring, and I'm assuming for LaCroix it probably was.
Yeah, I think that's his only ring. He did say he does show it. He'll show it off if someone asks, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I'm never gonna wear it.
Yeah, I wonder if he'd be willing to part with that for a nominal fee. But oh well, I've got the replica ring. That's good enough. It's fine.
As do I.
Yes, very nice, very nice ring. All right, do you have a new question for us for next time?
I do. So since 1876, only 5 teams have ever won 40 games by the end of May. So by the end of May 31st. 4 of them have happened in the last 3 years.
Oh, wow.
2023 Tampa, 2024 Phillies, 2024 Yankees, and our 2026 Braves. Can you name the other team that did it?
Wow. Okay. You came up with another good one there, Mike. You got some good ones, man. That's really good. You want to say it one more time just so everybody has it for next time?
Sure. So since 1876, only 5 teams have ever won 40 games by the end of May. 4 of them have happened in the last 3 years: 2023 Tampa, 24 Phillies, 24 Yankees, and the 26 Braves. Who is the other team to do it?
I'll have to dig into my memory banks. I don't. That's going to be a tough one. You know what's tough about that is there have been several seasons. Most of the seasons during Major League Baseball's history, there probably weren't enough games before May to reach 40 wins. I mean, there was a long time they didn't start a season until early April, mid-May. Now we're starting this sucker in late March. So there can't be that many seasons where teams had the opportunity. So I'm going to have to think about that one for. Good question, man. Again, very good question. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up with another episode in the books. And if you were watching live, thank you. And if you weren't, you'll be listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Pandora, whatever your preferred podcast platform is. We will have it on there. And we appreciate you tuning in once again. So we're going to call it a night. Mike, thanks again. I'll see you soon, buddy.
Yep. Have a nice